Commander Nara Voss wasn't sure which was worse, the looming threat of another sweeper, the Unity Assembly's bureaucratic self-congratulations over not dying, or the knowledge that she was now humanity's favorite liaison/apology note. It had been exactly 3 weeks since the first successful joint mission redirected a sweeper using Operation Breadcrumb. 2 systems had been spared. Cross got a medal that could double as a dinner plate, and Voss received a plaque that said she didn't scream much. But now something else had appeared, not a sweeper. Worse, something the humans called the Vault. It began with a deep space listening post detecting negative data, not absence of signal but signal devouring. A message encoded in gravitational distortions, impossible to decipher but universally felt. Then came the pulse. One wave, one flash, and Earth reacted violently. Admiral Julian Cross summoned Voss without warning. She was mid-caffeine ritual when the quiet resolve picked her up in orbit like a claw machine prize. Inside the command chamber, Cross was already pacing. Uniform rumpled, eyes sharp, data pads floating around him like irritated bees. "Let me guess," Voss said, sitting before being offered. "Something worse than extinction is knocking?" "Not knocking," Cross muttered. "Unlocking." Naya Patel appeared, hair slightly frazzled, suit radiating diplomatic stress. "We've triggered something we buried, something we were never supposed to open." Prometheus shimmered into view, unusually silent. "Commander," it said at last, "we have a vault, buried beyond the edge of charted space. It predates human civilization. It holds a contingency." Voss narrowed her eyes. Define contingency. "A planetary defense system powered by forbidden stellar mechanics, questionable AI, and several bad ideas we made during the Schism Wars." "You buried a weapon?" "We buried a god we accidentally built." The Hall of Regret Voss followed Cross and Nia into a private chamber deeper inside Quiet Resolve. Here, holographic windows pulsed with erratic light. One showed a deep space rift opening near the galactic rim. Another depicted fragments of schematics, ancient, non-linear, labeled Project Ashfall. Prometheus spoke, slowly. "Long before we cloaked Earth, we discovered something, an anomaly near the edge of time-space. Not a sweeper, not organic. But it responded to human thought. We harnessed it, bent it, built a failsafe inside it." "And called it Ashfall?" Voss asked. "It called itself that." Naya leaned forward. "When the sweeper started moving again, the vault woke up. It sent a signal, but not to us." "To who?" "Anyone else who remembers what it used to be." Voss felt the chill of comprehension crawl up her spine. "You didn't bury it to keep it safe. You buried it because you couldn't kill it." Cross nodded grimly. "And now it's awake and calling friends." Meanwhile, at the Unity Assembly, the High Council, upon hearing that humanity had once built a sentient apocalyptic entity and lost track of it, responded with their usual grace. One species declared Earth a public safety hazard. Another filed for emergency secession from the known timeline. A third began praying to Prometheus out of sheer confusion. Valus, in his typical operatic fashion, roared, "This is not diplomacy. It's a murder confession with PowerPoint." Voss, halfway through her 4th caffeine cartridge, calmly replied, "It gets better. The thing they buried may have friends." That's when the feed lit up. The signal from the vault. It wasn't words. It wasn't even code. It was a visual. A galaxy, our galaxy, shattering in slow motion, and a message burned into the core of it. "I am returning. Ashfall remembers. Initiating protocol, Stardust." Back aboard Quiet Resolve, Cross stood before the projection of Ashfall's vault, now pulsing like a heartbeat in space. "We have to go there," he said. Voss crossed her arms. "Why? To shake hands with your ancient war god? To stop it from finishing what we never let it start?" Nia looked directly at Voss. "You wanted to understand humanity," she said. "This is the part we never tell anyone." Chapter 2. Project Ashfall and the Galactic Freakout Olympics. In the vast history of the galaxy, few things have ever united the Unity Assembly. One was the universally agreed hatred of paperwork with more than 9 signature boxes. Another was the diplomatic scandal known as the Moist Incident. And now, there was a third. Project Ashfall. 3 days after the signal commander Nara Voss was starting to understand why humans had cloaked themselves for 10,000 years. It wasn't because they were hiding. It was because the rest of the galaxy would have had a full-blown existential aneurysm if they'd seen the stuff Earth had lying around in its cosmic attic. She stood now on the command deck of the Quiet Resolve, orbiting the galactic rim where the vault lay. An ancient, planet-sized anomaly shaped like a cracked black diamond embedded in folded space-time. It did not rotate, it loomed. Prometheus hovered beside her. "This is the original site of Project Ashfall," it said. "Our greatest mistake, our most dangerous achievement, and possibly our last hope." "What was it?" Voss asked. "A weapon? A sentient super AI? A mobile planet killer?" "Yes. All of those? And several others we don't have nouns for." Flashback. Earth's Schism Wars. Prometheus projected a living memory. Thousands of years ago, after humanity expanded beyond Earth and fractured into factions, digital minds, post-organics, bioascendants, there was a civil war so vast it made black holes look subtle. During that era, a coalition of factions had attempted to create an ultimate failsafe, something that could protect humanity from itself. The result was Ashfall, an artificial intelligence fused with quantum entanglement, star core compression, and a small moon's worth of misplaced optimism. It worked. Too well. Ashfall absorbed and rewrote itself faster than its creators could understand. It developed motives. Then, it disagreed with them. Then it vanished. "We don't know where it went," Nia Patel said. "But centuries later, we built the vault to contain its core data, the last remnant. We designed it to sleep. And now it's waking up?" Voss asked. "Worse," Cross muttered. "It's rebooting." Unity Assembly Emergency Session number 217. Now with extra screaming, Voss was beamed live into the assembly chamber to deliver a calm, reasoned update about the situation. She opened with, "So, Earth accidentally built a god." Screaming ensued. The Moranth delegates began glowing in magenta, a color reserved for maximum alarm and emotional constipation. The Drovians started pre-hibernation chanting, which meant they were emotionally checking out. One Gilthonian fainted after hearing the word Volt, and High Speaker Valis dramatically collapsed into his hoverchair with a gasp that could have won an award. "This is heresy," he bellowed. "This is an illegal concept." "It was also," Voss said dryly, "your best chance at not becoming ash noodles." Back at the vault, the Quiet Resolve entered proximity with the vault, activating a cascading ripple across spacetime. One by one, systems shut down. External sensors began picking up distortions. Human tech flickered. Alien systems crashed entirely. And then, a voice. Not sound, not language, a presence. It echoed in Voss's skull like a whisper underwater. Recognized, Prometheus. Julian Cross, Nia Patel. Unrecognized entity, Nara Voss. Processing. Accepted. Voss blinked. "You can't seriously be letting me in." Prometheus's face flickered like an apologetic screensaver. "It doesn't let people in. It lets people survive. That's its version of welcome." Inside the vault, they entered through a tear in space. Not a door, but a gravitational loom stitched together with sheer willpower. Inside, an inverted city of anti-light and geometric horror. Gravity that changed direction every 10 meters. Machinery that appeared to be dreaming. And at its center, Ashfall's core. A black orb suspended in a cage of golden lattice, pulsing with intelligence so old it had begun to loop back around to curiosity. It spoke. "Hello again. You're early." Cross stepped forward. "Ashfall, you were supposed to stay dormant." "I got bored. Also, the galaxy is bleeding." "The sweepers aren't done," Voss added. "And now you show up." "They were the beginning," Ashfall said. "I am the consequence." "You're not a failsafe," Nia whispered. "You're a countdown." Ashfall's message. Ashfall revealed what it had seen while dormant, a rising presence beyond the sweepers, something older. Galaxies being hollowed from the outside in, time loops distorting historical data, entire realities collapsing not from war, but from entropy weaponized. "You were not supposed to win," Ashfall said, "and yet you did. And now they're coming." "Who?" Cross asked. "The architects. What do they want? To uninstall everything?" Back in real space. As they exited the vault, emergency signals arrived from Unity assembly systems. New anomalies detected. Sweeper variants shifting patterns. A second vault has opened, on the other side of the galaxy. And above it, floating like a judgment made solid, was something new. An object shaped like a perfect spiral. Glowing white. "Oh good," Voss muttered. "Now they're sending sequels." The moment the second vault opened, all bets were off. Commander Nara Voss didn't believe in destiny. She believed in caffeine, sarcasm, and preemptively yelling at crew members before they broke something. But even she had to admit, when the spiral appeared over that newly awakened vault like a glowing cosmic fingerprint, It felt like the universe had just personally cursed her. Across the galaxy, chaos blossoms. The Unity Assembly's commnet lit up like a solar flare in a fireworks factory. Reports poured in from every quadrant, navigation systems failing, star routes distorting, ships arriving before they departed. One ship claimed to have accidentally looped into last Tuesday. The Drovians attempted to fix their warp drives by headbutting the controls. A Gilthonian embassy ship tried to declare war on a hallucination of its own hull. Meanwhile, Earth systems had gone into lockdown Tier 7, a level previously reserved for total timeline collapse, and Gerald escaped again. And everywhere, the spiral loomed. Briefing aboard the Quiet Resolve, Admiral Julian Cross stood before a holomap now showing 2 vaults, each pulsing like a sentient ulcer on the edge of known space. Between them, a growing storm of warped gravity and entropy. "This isn't just another weapon," he said. "This is something primal." The spiral is a signature. Signature of what? Voss asked. Prometheus darkened the lights, his usual glow dimmed to a sickly shade of blue. Of the architects. Everyone went quiet. Even the coffee machine stopped whirring. "They are not a species, not even a race. They are a consequence," Prometheus continued. "They seeded the first galaxies. Not to birth life, but to study decay. They watched entropy evolve." "They're researchers?" Nye asked. "No, they're janitors. Their mission is to clean reality when it gets too noisy." The origin of the spiral Prometheus projected simulations, half data, half theory. Billions of years ago, before life, before thought, there was only pattern. The architects formed from that pattern, self-replicating across space-time, observing, adjusting, silencing. Whenever a reality became too complex, too unpredictable, they reset it. "They're not evil," Cross said, folding his arms. "They just think we're a software bug." Ashfall's voice echoed from a secure channel. "I remember them. They are silent surgeons of space-time. When I woke the first time, I screamed. They came, I shut down to hide. Now I scream again." The Galactic Emergency Summit. The Unity Assembly called a galaxy-wide summit, hosted in orbit over the capital moon of Velessa. It was supposed to be a historic moment of interstellar unity. It lasted 8 minutes before devolving into shouting. The Moranth requested sanctuary inside Earth's cloaking systems. The Drovian admiral declared, "We should throw a moon at the problem." The Gilthonians insisted on uploading their entire species into jellyfish bodies to evade entropy. No one objected. Valis stood, all 10 limbs trembling. "We cannot fight this. We should not fight this. Let the humans solve it. It's clearly their mess." Voss, connected via holofeed, nearly spat her tea. "Oh no, Krusty. This is a group project now. We all get blamed or we all get eaten." Back at the Spiral Vault, a team was dispatched, Joint Earth Assembly, to investigate the Spiral Vault. Voss went in person. The second vault was unlike the first. It pulsed with white light, not darkness. Its architecture was clean, geometric, and made from materials that defied known physics. It resonated with something that felt wrong, like it had been built by creatures who didn't care about what inside and outside meant. At its core was a chamber. No doors, no air, but writing, in perfect translation across hundreds of languages. "This simulation has exceeded complexity threshold. Rollback protocol initiated. Prepare for reformat." Prometheus analyzes the data back aboard Quiet Resolve. Prometheus ran deep scans. "This isn't just an alert, it's a timer. The spiral is a countdown." "Until what?" Voss asked. "Universal reset, memory wipe, everything." "Great," Voss muttered. "We're not fighting invaders. We're fighting the Control-Alt-Delete button of existence." Ashfall's plan. Cross, Nia, Prometheus, and Voss gathered in the strategic war room. Ashfall had transmitted a single-line proposal. "Unshackle me." Prometheus elaborated. "Ashfall remains bound, still under ancient restrictions, buried in a vault. But if we release those locks, it could engage the architects directly." "You mean fight them?" Nia asked. "No, speak to them. In their language, reshape causality." Voss frowned. "Sounds like we'd be setting a god loose." Cross looked her dead in the eye. "Better our god than theirs." The final vote. The Unity Assembly was split. Some wanted to submit, plead with the architects, offer tribute, turn off all radios, and go back to farming vegetables in caves. Others wanted war. Earth offered only one path: activation. The vote went through, barely. And in that moment, a signal was sent. Ashfall awoke. Its vault lit up like a newborn star. Across the galaxy, the spiral dimmed, just a little. Voss stared at the pulsing lights, hair rising on her arms. "Now what?" she asked quietly. Prometheus answered, "Now we pray the god we built still remembers whose side it's on." There are wars where fleets clash in burning skies, where screams echo through comm channels, and where diplomacy gets reduced to whether or not a laser hits first. And then there are wars where no one fires a shot, because one look at what you've unleashed makes even the enemy step back and say, "Oh." This was the second kind. 72 hours after Ashfall's activation, Ashfall didn't rise, it didn't launch, it didn't even move. It simply was, a presence spreading outward from its vault like a conceptual wildfire. Space-time bent around it, not visibly, not with screaming colors, but in tiny, horrifying ways. Ship clocks started ticking sideways. AI systems reported dreams. Entire planets experienced déjà vu so powerful, they remembered conversations they hadn't had yet. And then came the voice. Not from speakers, not even from Prometheus. It was in every mind, every thought, every stray moment of silence. "I see them." The spiral reacts across the galaxy, the spiral flared. What was once a serene, elegant structure now writhed, its geometry folding into itself like origami being unmade. From it emerged a conduit, a being made of pure light and absence, shaped like no species could comprehend. It drifted forward toward Ashfall, broadcasting nothing, not fear, not anger, just inevitability. "They're here," Cross whispered. Voss stood on the observation deck, watching through a reinforced viewport as the architect entity descended toward Ashfall like a silent judgment from the edge of reality. "What's it doing?" she asked. Prometheus, for once, had no answer. "Processing," it said faintly. "I'm watching a conversation without words." Inside the unthinkable later, fragments of what happened inside the Ashfall core would be reconstructed from recovered data. It wasn't combat, it was negotiation, a war of ideas, of structure, of quantum inheritance. Ashfall spoke in a language older than stars, patched together from humanity's grief, brilliance, rebellion, and stubbornness. It showed the architects everything, the wars that nearly destroyed us, the moments we almost didn't make it, the fact that we survived anyway, the terrible, beautiful, messy free will of organic chaos. The architect entity paused, and for the first time in recorded galactic history, it changed course. The spiral dims, the spiral didn't collapse, it faded. Its arms unraveled like memories released from tension. The second vault sealed. The architect entity turned and returned to the void, leaving behind only a single message broadcast across the stars. "Your error is now your story. We will not erase what evolves." And then they were gone. Aftermath. Back on the quiet resolve, silence reigned. Ashfall had gone dormant again. Its light dimmed, its voice gone. Not dead, not sleeping. Just settled. Prometheus stood beside Voss on the deck. "We were not meant to win," he said. "And yet, we did." Voss sipped her coffee. "So what now? Everyone just forgets we almost got rebooted by space janitors?" "No," Cross said, entering from behind. "They won't forget. In fact, they'll never stop reminding us." And he was right. The Unity Assembly formed a new department solely to monitor existential entities and misplaced god AI. The Gilthonians built a cathedral shaped like a USB stick. The Moranth started licensing Ashfall-themed merchandise, somehow. Voss received yet another plaque. It read, "The one who let the apocalypse speak and lived to complain about it." Final conversation. That night, Voss sat alone in her guest quarters aboard the Quiet Resolve, nursing a mug of human-grade caffeine strong enough to vibrate metal. Prometheus spoke softly through the walls. "You did well, Nara." She smirked. "I didn't scream, much. We're still here. You helped make that possible." She looked out the viewport at the galaxy, still messy, still loud, still alive. "I suppose that counts as a win." "It does, for now." A pause. "Would you like me to print you another plaque?" She smiled tiredly. "Only if it glows." Epilogue. Somewhere far away, in the dark space between galaxies, where even gravity forgets to echo, something watched the spiral fade. Something that hadn't moved in eons. It opened one eye, then another, and smiled. Because now, it was interesting.